Everyone here knows what a pigeon is, right? The birds that are literally everywhere in just about every city in the world. Well, have you ever wondered where they came from or how they ended up as one of the most hated birds in the world? Well, coincidentally, so have I. Hi, hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a little bit since I posted a video, but if you've been over on my Instagram, you'll know that I got really sick. So I haven't really had the energy to do anything for a while, but we're good now. I might sound a little rough because I've been coughing a lot, but other than that, I'm fine. But if you couldn't already tell, we are going to be talking about pigeons and their relationship with people today. It's a very sad topic. I think I cried a couple times while researching this. But if I have to suffer with this knowledge on Valentine's Day, then so do all of you. So pigeons are, like I said, one of the most hated birds in the world. But I've always wondered why. I think they're cute and fun to watch, and they're a nice little touch of nature in the urban jungles of the world. So why does everybody hate them so much? And how did they even get everywhere in the first place? Like, I live in a really small town, and there are still pigeons everywhere. Like, it's crazy. Where did they all come from? So, I did some research, and oh my goodness, the story of pigeons is so sad. So get some tissues ready because you're going to need them. But before we get into the very tragic tale of pigeons and humans, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my next video. So as far as I could tell, it all started about 5,000 years ago when we as humans first domesticated pigeons. There's artifacts from Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt that show evidence of pigeons being domesticated and stuff, and they were used for food, fertilizer, religious rituals, like a ton of stuff. They were even used to transport messages, like Genghis Khan had a whole system of homing pigeons that he used to keep in touch with all of his empire, and they were even used early as World War II to transport messages over enemy lines. So pigeons are pretty useful. They were originally brought to the United States as an easy food source due to them being bred to produce faster than regular birds. They were also the dominant meat birds in the Middle East and Europe for many years before they suddenly became public enemy number one. So for centuries, pigeons were an integral part of human societies, and we needed them, so we bred them to be as good as they could be at the things we needed them for. We made it so they produce a lot faster, so we could use them for meat. We made it so they poop a lot, so we can use their poop for fertilizer. So how did such an important part of human history get pushed to the side and just completely forgotten about? Well, the sad truth is that we just didn't need them anymore. Chickens became the new meat bird. New technology made it easier and faster to relay messages. We found different sources of fertilizer. So we kind of just got rid of them, and most of them were probably released into the wild and stuff. But the poor things didn't quite get the memo that humans didn't need them anymore. And after thousands of years of being bred to be around humans, they didn't know anything other than that, so they did what they know best. They stuck around people, which is usually in the cities. Once we kind of abandoned pigeons, that's such a mean way to say it, but that's kind of just what happened. But once we abandoned them, they didn't start out as hated. Sparrows actually had the top spot for most hated bird in the world for a while. And it wasn't until pigeons started getting blamed for spreading disease that it was pretty much all downhill from there. They gained the nickname rats of the sky and were viewed as vermin. Now, I looked into this, and the only disease that pigeons can give you is pigeon lung, and you can only get it by breathing in proteins found in their feathers and poop. But you need to be exposed to a lot of birds for a lot of time for it to even be a risk, so pigeon farmers are usually the ones who get it, right? Other than that, I couldn't really find anything that said where they spread disease. Only a couple random news articles from like the 1900s that said they did, and everyone just went with it. So they don't really spread disease, so that's not like a valid reason for people to hate them. And so I was trying to think of other reasons, and I could only think of the fact that there's a ton of them and that they poop a lot, which is literally what we bred them to do. We bred them to reproduce faster and to poop a lot because we use them for fertilizers. So I feel so bad even worse for pigeons, because the things that people hate them for are the things that people made them to do. And like, I get it. It's annoying to have just a ton of this one kind of bird everywhere that poops a lot, but they can't help it. They don't know how to do anything else. They're just poor little pigeons. Now, pigeons aren't hated everywhere, thankfully. There are still parts of the world where pigeons are used for meat and stuff, and people breed and show fancy pigeons too, which is pretty cool. Like, they teach them to do tricks and stuff. But so there are people who appreciate them, which is very, very nice. But it seems that a lot of the world just forgot all of our history with them, and it's really sad. Like, pigeons were used in the world wars. They were our comrades. I don't want to say they fought alongside us in battle, but they delivered messages in battle, which is pretty darn cool. And I know we have better ways to deliver messages now, but still, like, how do you just forget all of that history? Because I don't know about the rest of you, but I had little to no clue everything we used pigeons for. Like, I knew we used them as like homing pigeons and carrier pigeons to carry messages, but that was it. I had no idea that we used them for meat or fertilizer or any of that. So it's like, how does such an integral part of human society just get completely forgotten about? It seems like just a switch was flipped and one day we didn't want pigeons anymore and they spread disease and everybody hates them now. It would be like if suddenly everybody stopped using cars, like just cars became obsolete and there was some other new mode of transportation that everybody used. And so the cars were just either like left on the side of the road or in junkyards, and then they'd be kind of like pests and annoying and taking up space and all that. And at first people wouldn't really mind it because like this new mode of transportation is so much better, like the presence of the cars doesn't even matter. And then some news article would come out and be like, oh, these cars got this one dude sick maybe. And then suddenly everybody's like, oh my gosh, these cars, they're terrible. Everybody hates them, they're spreading disease, and it's just the worst. And then just suddenly everybody hates the cars that were there the whole time. Like, for a while, nobody really cared until suddenly disease started being spread by the cars, and then they're an issue. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly. It's not the greatest analogy, but it's like an integral part of society, something that has helped humans be humans for a long time, just suddenly gets discarded. And at first it's like it doesn't really bother people, but then it bothers people a lot because of something that happened involving it. It's so strange to me. And it's not even like they're invasive, because usually once an animal gets released into the wild that was previously domesticated, they become an invasive species, like with the pythons in the Everglades and those zebra turkeyfish or lionfish things that are terrorizing coral reefs and stuff. Like, usually when an animal gets released into the wild, it becomes invasive and it becomes a problem environmentally. But pigeons haven't really done that. If anything, they're kind of good for the environment because they're a new food source for birds of prey and stuff. So there's really not too much of a reason for such a deep-seated hatred for pigeons. It's just unfair. I don't know, I feel bad for them. They don't even really care. Like, they're pigeons. They don't care. They probably don't even have the capacity to feel anything other than, a breadcrumb on ground. So, like, this is obviously just me as a person projecting stuff onto them. But it's still sad. Like, it was really sad researching this. I understand how they can be a nuisance, but we made them that way, so it's not really their fault. They're just silly little guys who poop a lot and are everywhere. They can't help it. So, to not end this video off on such a sad note, how about some fun pigeon facts to finish this off? Fact number 1, both male and female pigeons make milk to feed their babies, and before you ask, no, you cannot milk a pigeon because it's not made in the same way it is in mammals. Fact number 2, baby pigeons are called squabs, squeakers, or peeps, which is the cutest name ever. Like, ducklings and chicks is cute, but squeaker? That's adorable. And last, but certainly not least, fact number 3 is that Nikola Tesla, the famous inventor, his first love was a pigeon, and she was the only love of his life, which is really, really weird because it was a pigeon, but for Valentine's Day, it's a good fact because it's kind of sweet, but mostly weird because his first and only love was a pigeon. So, on that amazing note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this video, or at least found a better appreciation for pigeons. If you know anything else about pigeons, or have a fun pigeon story, I would absolutely love to hear it. I don't live in an area with a ton of pigeons, so I don't have much experience with them. I did see a pigeon with one leg one time, and that was pretty interesting. But other than that, I have no pigeon experience. Anyways, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again next week. Bye bye!